Hello and welcome back to the channel of Truth, Trust and Transparency. Another deal review, one of the last ones I reckon to end off the year of 2025. Now, if you're new here, just know that I have been posting on YouTube myself every day for the last, I think it's about 4 months now. It's been an incredible journey. I've tried to give you guys as much value as possible. So if you've got any value from any of these videos, scroll back, have a watch. Would appreciate it if you could just subscribe and share it with someone else that's on this property journey with you or you know that's out there looking. Today, I'm reviewing a deal in Armidale, New South Wales. So regional Australia. Very interesting numbers on this. Very interesting deal. Wanted to give you my thoughts on not only the area, but also the deal sent through. Let me know your thoughts, feelings, and emotions in the comments section and any other questions that you may have. So, jumping into H-tag, we can see typical price is 630, 3.45% growth in 6 months, 6.5% in the past year, 10% in the past 3 years, 53% in 5 years, and 75% in 10 years. Now, remember, we're talking about a regional location here. This is not a capital city. Regional play, it's averaged 7.5% for the last 10 years, every single year. Incredible numbers. Let me dive into a bit of the data, and we'll see how this one performs. Armidale, New South Wales, regional, 630 typical price, 430 a week, 3.5% yield is the only issue I see. What's interesting is we have this sort of jump up between 3 to 4 and 4 to 5. So 3 to 4 is approximately 150. So there's an arbitrage play there. And there is 190 between 4 and 5 bedrooms. However, we need to check which one of those has the highest demand because 5 bedrooms are very rare. Again, not bad RCS, low risk. Capital growth is a bit lower, which we would expect from a regional, but cash flow higher to balance it out. We have a massive population and dwellings, no real bushfire flood risk, and a smaller infrastructure spend. Rent ticking up, typical price ticking up, growth rate. So again, regional, it's been ticking up between sort of this 5 to 10 and below. And has had a really good run the last couple of years. And as we can see, a nice little peak at the moment. 5 Ersad, 38 rented to owner ratio. So you compare that to the last couple that we've done that at 1 and 2 Ersad rented to owner ratio. So better socioeconomic score than most. And here's what's interesting, demand profile. There is still a very high demand for 4 bedrooms. So we know with there being about a $140,000, $150,000 difference, is can we buy a 3-bedroom and convert it to a 4-bedroom? Is there any opportunities in that market? Years to own affordability, 31.8. So we know that needs to be below 35, and it appears to still have quite a run left in it. Looking at the rest of the data, stock on market is slowly, ever so slightly decreasing. Inventories, short-term decreasing, long-term, little bit of an increase, but we see it's right on 1.12 months on market. Building approvals, not really any in existence. And what's really interesting is that vacancies have dropped off ever since February 2025. Vacancies have been dropping off. So it tells me that there might be quite some demand in the market. And we can see that as well on the days on market side, because essentially from, again, February, days on market has been dropping off. So if vacancies dropping off, days on market's dropping off, stock is sort of, there's not a heap of pressure, but again, regional market. So I don't see this as being a bad thing. And I mean, we had no stock on market as well for last month. So Armidale, look, there seems to be the potential for some growth in the short term. And we're still under that sort of unaffordability score, which is great. Now, I'm going to show you on Google Maps where this deal was and where Armidale is, and I'll tell you my thoughts on it. We have Newcastle, Sydney, Newcastle. We're going up north, up north, up north. Once we get to Southwest Rocks, Nambucca Heads, Coffs Harbour, we go inland. And we have Armidale, guys. As you can see, this is the main sort of stretch of Armidale. We have the main shopping precinct, Bingley, Woolworths, blah, blah, blah. And then we have an industrial precinct here. This deal is located all the way up to the north. Now, whilst we have the university here, this is just something that's really interesting and to watch. And again, the person that sent it to me said, I don't think it's an issue because of its location. It's an expensive pocket. Now, that might be true. However, again, and as you guys saw on my one from Mildura, similar circumstances. New England Highway. Let's have a look. Now, if we actually go back, if we zoom right in, what I noticed is the property's here, and you see that this is a signpost, right? So if we drop ourselves down, it's likely going to be either this or this signpost. It is only a 2 to 3 lane, but here's my issue with it. Anyone that's coming this way is going out of town, which means they are approaching 100 kilometer per hour section. And anyone coming from this way into town, it is knowing that it's 100 kilometers an hour here, and then it's dropping down to 60, or it might be 80 if I go back further enough. But this, in these houses here, this is probably, in my opinion, not much of a reserve or natural landscape barrier that gives me any sorts of confidence that there wouldn't be a lower risk if a vehicle ran off the road, or B, any suppression in noise. Because what do we know regional is good for? Our trucking economy. What do those guys have? They have their airbags and suppression braking system. And that's going to mean when they go from 100 or 110 down to 60, there's going to be some excess noise. So for me, based on that, purely and simply, I'm saying no. Because your back fence is right here. It's stupid. It's stupid. You cannot change that. And if you go back to maps, it's not as if it's some random highway. This is the highway that is connecting north to south. And if you want to go east as well, this is the main highway that everyone's driving on. Everyone is driving on and through. So that's why I would say no straight away. But let's look through the deal nonetheless. Again, I bring it in here. Here it is here. Being a sticky beat, what got rejected? Oh, the shed. Another thing to think about as well with this particular sized block is that we're only dealing here with, we're dealing with 882, which is not too bad. Which is not too bad in terms of a sized shape. Not too bad landscape. And there we go there. As we can see, back fence is overlocked. So here's the block of land. Again, you got to think we're trying to get our hands on some sort of land element and aspect. If they're on these, I guess, new house and land subdivisions on the outsides of town, is the demand still people wanting to live on the outskirts? Because if I want to go to, let's just say, if I want to go into town and do my shopping, how long does that take me to get to Armidale Plaza? Let's have a look. Directions. Okay, 7 minutes. So you just want to make sure that people are still okay with being on this side of the highway and this far out, because there's so many other options out there. The asset itself, apart from this, doesn't appear to be too much, if any, other overlays. Hazards, not much. Heritage, koalas. We know there is the koala overlay, not a huge issue. So look, it is new inside. It's a rather small kitchen and living. Is there a dining room? I don't know if there is. Let me see the floor plan. It's all new in here. Show me the floor plan. Okay, here we go. So, again, smaller build. It's funny because, as you saw there, you don't really have, if you're bringing a family up in here, the issue that you're going to have is you don't have a room for a dining table. Where's your dining table go? Again, as well, some very small bedrooms. Ideally, we want bedrooms 3x3. compromise maybe on one for a kid's room. Master's okay size, but that would be my issue with it. There might be some depreciation, not the reason we buy. There we go. Think, kids, where am I putting my kids around the table to eat dinner? You're going to tell me that you're putting them up here? Nightmare. So a very small building footprint. Have the bath, have the shower, which is good, toilet, and a bit of a backyard. So I don't know. One thing that I thought was interesting is if I had a look in the Armidale market, and I was having a look, as you guys can see, sold houses under 550. There are a bunch of options. There are so many options, and I think this was going for 660, 700 or something. It's a very expensive price to pay. And what are you really going to gain from that being out there? I'm not too sure. Is there going to be some options in here? 490, 510, 540, like something like this, right? Cool. Just needs a paint and a little bit of a freshen up, say 30 grand. But what would be good about this, even if 30 grand, I'm in for 470. Now, if that's going to rent, if that property is a 3-bedroom, then I can get, say, $500 a week rent. Times that by 52, divide that by, I'm all in for a purchase. I'm all in with purchase and reno for 470. I'm at a yield of 5.5. Whereas if I'm buying that other one at 675, and maybe that rents for 600 a week. I'm down at 4.5. A 4.5% yield. So it's a whole point in yield, 1% in yield for what are you gaining? Just something to have a really good think about. 550, massive block. Like there's so many options here, guys. So my advice would definitely be to explore some of the opportunities that are in here. There's some I'm just seeing by clicking through where there's certain agencies that are selling off markets. They're the guys that we need to be talking to. Hey, seeing you transacting off market a lot. This is what I'm looking for. Help me out, big dog. Obviously not saying it like that, but giving you guys just an example. So many interesting little pockets, and like 440, 375. Jesus. Fortune favours the brave. I love the corner block. But look, that's my issue on the deal. Probably because of that location, I wouldn't pick it up. There are plenty of really other interesting options around and available, and the data doesn't look too bad. I think there will be some price growth here. But maybe wrong asset, right location in terms of this sort of deal. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.